The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July the 7th, which means, well, two things in my world. My niece Sarah's 40, and Ringo Starr is 83, the king of kings.
Ooh. Wow.
Ringo Starr is 83 years old, and if we were smart, we'd all live exactly as he's lived for the last 40-plus years, because I don't know if you've seen him lately, but he is in shape.
It's nuts. And I saw McCartney, too. These guys are dancing around in their 80s like I can barely get around in my 50s.
Put down the burgers. That's the lesson here. No. Jeez, oh, Pete. Yeah, no. I know. I know. No. So happy birthday, Ringo Starr. Happy birthday, Sarah. If you want to celebrate Ringo's birthday by dipping in a lake in the city, good luck to you. Because here we go. I heard about this when I first moved to town. Someone said offhandedly, oh, they closed the lakes in the summer because of E. coli. And I went, oh, that's got to be a joke. That's crazy. Yeah, well, so what? The joke's on me. Apparently, Lake Hiawatha Beach and, hang on, Bedemakaska.
Attaboy. Nailed it.
Bedemakaska Beach, Thomas Beach, closed after routine testing has found E. coli bacteria exceeded state guidelines. The levels have exceeded state guidelines. I would think any is enough to keep me away from the water, but I guess there's a level that's acceptable, and we're beyond that in those two lakes.
I cannot wait to communicate with my oldest daughter, Taylor, this morning, who's a bit of a germaphobe. Right. And spent the 4th of July, that was on Tuesday, all day on Lake Bedemakaska.
Oh, boy.
She's got poop in her pores. I cannot wait to bother her with that. What time does she get up?
Well, she didn't go in it, did she?
Oh, she was in it. They were on paddle boards out there. Oh yeah,
boy.
they were in it.
Okay, well,
City Lakes.
On the list of things to keep in mind, one of them says, when in doubt, stay out. So just in case anyone's wondering, I'm going to adhere to that pretty much every day of the year. I'll walk out there when that sucker's frozen. How about that? I'll make that deal with you.
I am on her Facebook page, and there are photos of them waist deep in the water, deeper than waist deep, drinking beers. So that means they're completely soaked. There's water. You know, when you get a little lake effect in your beer when you're drinking in the water, they drank poop. There's no doubt about it.
Nice poopy glaze.
No doubt about it.
I got swimmer's itch when I was little in Lake Nokomis, and I haven't swam in a city lake since. And I remember I was dating this guy, and he tried to fondle me a little bit in one of the lakes, and I was like, this is not gonna happen.
Wait. I'm sorry. Are you? Is fondling someone? Is that what you call swimmer's itch, or is swimmer's itch and fondling a different thing?
Those stories got crisscrossed.
Yeah, they sure did. What is swimmer's itch?
I think it's from bacteria in lakes. It just you turn red and you itch. And I got it when I was little in Lake Nokomis, and I just got really turned off to city lakes until I dated this guy. And then years later.
And then he got you back into the city lake scene, and then he did his own version of the swimmer's itch, the swimmer's scratch maybe, and then that turned you right off again.
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad we could straighten that out.
Minnesota's the first place I remember walking up to a lake, and I was going swimming. Had my little kayak thing there. I like to jump in and swim around too. Beware of swimmer's itch. I just did a 180. I don't even know if there was internet back then, but I'm like, I don't know what it is. Swimmer's itch?
Yeah, that's another one. I'm hearing about this for the first time.
Okay, where does it hit you? Where does the itch hit you?
I don't know, everywhere.
Wherever you have skin, man.
Oh, for crying out loud. It's like sea lice, I guess, when you're in the ocean. Sometimes you see. You ever heard of that? In the Caribbean once, I was doing some scuba diving, and they were like, oh, we can't go there. It's full of sea lice. And I was like, let's go back to the island, please.
Yeah.
I don't want to know anything about sea lice.
I want rum.
The romance of learning how to scuba dive has suddenly dissipated.
Yeah, suddenly.
I've become dispossessed from the desire to learn how to scuba dive.
I know. Suddenly the old urine red eye in your public pool doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, no kidding. At least there's chlorine there to let you know that it's working and that someone has urinated. At least it's it's like a litmus test. Every pool is its own litmus test. Yeah. When you have the red itchy eyes, it's not from the chlorine. That's from the chlorine attaching itself to urine. So remember, retroactively go back and think of all the times your eyes burned, and remember that's when you were in pee-filled pools.
I know, and I thought it was quite the opposite. I thought the chlorine was burning my eyes.
Yep.
I was like, well, at least it's clean in here. It might be a little,
very
heavy with chlorine.
You guys ever pee in a pool? Admit it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Have I ever not peed in a pool?
Right.
Admit it. I mean, it's kind of at this point, it's like I'm trying to keep the streak started in the late 60s.
Yeah.
I would hate to upset the apple cart. So when you say swimmer's itch, I can only think of my junk. I'm sorry, I go right to jock itch or something, and I'm thinking that's where it is. But you're saying swimmer's itch can be anywhere.
Yes.
But that does bring to mind something that I'm just going to come out and say it. A survey of asking a bunch of men if they've ever given their junk a nickname. 73% of men say yes. I would have thought the opposite. I'm trying to think. I've known men my whole life. I've had conversations with them, locker room talk, my whole life. I don't actually know of anyone who has a name for his junk that he actually uses. Maybe he only uses it around the ladies. But seriously, 3 of every 4 men has a nickname for his junk.
I mean, that's.
I mean, I refer to that area as the front office. That's just to say to be funny, or Big Jim and the Twins. That's a joke you say. I don't actually, in my private moments, or if I'm at home, I wonder what Larry's up to. I mean, that's just the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Oftentimes you're given one, but to give it yourself,
entirely different thing.
Often times, Tony.
What?
Is that often? Okay, why don't you share yours then, if it's so?
If I had to think one myself, I'd think something more exotic and European. I'd go with Antoine.
Antoine, that's nice.
Antoine.
I have a girlfriend that used to call mine the joystick.
Really?
Yeah, I got joystick.
The 11 most popular nicknames. I don't know if we're even going to get down all 11. Troy, number 1.
Troy.
I know 3 off the top of my head. I know 3 people named Troy. I'm gonna have to check in with them today. I had no idea. Hercules. Stop.
Yes.
Yeah,
stop.
That's right. Well, that's yeah.
The Rock. Oh my God, guys, be creative. How about
after I shave it, then I call it the Rock.
God.
I'm gonna go with Bishop McGroin. The Bishop. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Well, there was that. I guess there was that. Oh my God, I can't even say it. It's bad when you laugh at your own joke before you said it. I was gonna say, if you ever have if you find yourself with an STD, you could call it Junka Burning Love. That's a bit long-winded.
Yeah.
JJBL for short. Yeah, all the rest of them make no sense. Wilfred, Dave, Jerry, Johnny, Randy, Napoleon. Okay, I get that. Napoleon.
Yeah.
Although apparently, the whole thing with Napoleon being a little fella, not true. The measuring like inches and centimeters or whatever the French were using in the time of Napoleon were different from the English. As it turns out, Napoleon was actually like 5'7".
Sacre bleu.
These people say he was like 5'1" or something. No, by the English measurement, a very short man, but he was of average height for a Frenchman at the time. So if you call your junk Napoleon because you're less endowed than you wish, maybe think about a different name. Just maybe go a little fella, because Napoleon was not a little fella; he was a regular sized fella.
I just thought maybe because it was a conquer and divide.
Oh, there could be that, or in the case of many people that we know, ultimately exiled.
Yeah, been there. Yeah, that's happened definitely. Out on an island by myself.
Take it out of here, bud. You're done.
Just me and Russell the Muscle. I like that one.
Hit the roo running. It's Friday, which means that we got some movie reviews and the song and whatever else is coming from the twisted mind of Mike Evans. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. We have a love nugget to start off with.
All right.
Despite the rumor that Taylor Swift and Maddie Healy have been quietly rendezvousing, spokesperson for Taylor Swift says that's absolutely 100% not true. So, Steve, I know you're going to be able to sleep a lot better knowing that.
I just want Taylor to be okay.
Yeah, I know. The news from Kevin Spacey's trial in London just keeps getting worse. The latest accuser testifying very graphic, hardcore information about Kevin Spacey. I think he's going to go to jail. What do you think?
I think he's going to go to jail. I think he probably should go to jail. I believe every one of his accusers.
I agree. And regarding the NBA security goon that smacked Britney Spears, knocked her to the ground, Vegas police will arrest him. Clark County DA will charge him. By the way, Britney's 5'3", 120 pounds. The guard's 6'4", 230 pounds. Prediction, no jail time, probably a big fine, public service, probably fired.
So what Brittany's trying to get a photo with Victor Wembanyama? Is that what's happening? And then in the scrum, doesn't she have someone to set that up for her? Like, why is she going up and grabbing a 7'4" 19-year-old to get a photo?
Well, I've heard from I've seen videos of 3 people that were there that said she didn't grab him. She walked over and put her hand on his back of his shoulder, and this goon knocks her to the ground.
Why was she using a British accent?
She does that all the time.
Because she's crazy.
Who the hell knows? I don't get it. It is Movie Review Friday. The movie is rude, it's nasty, it's raunchy. It's certainly not politically correct. It will insult some, but yet it's hilarious. The name of the movie is Joyride. When 4 cute millennial best friends decide to head to their family homeland of China, their adventures have so many twists and turns it's hard to keep up with, but the ones you do catch will probably make you laugh out loud. Be aware, it's a little shocking, rated R, under 2 hours. It's called Joyride, 3 stars.
Well, at this stage, what can be shocking? It's 2023. We're all old. We've seen it all. No?
Well, there were some surprises in this.
Okay,
movie.
fair enough. I'm in. I'm all for being offended.
Movie news, one of my favorite actresses, Selma Hayek, just turned 56, and she is starring in this, what I would think would be a very weird movie. It's called No Blood. What's weird is No Blood is a war movie.
Uh-huh.
No surprise, the weird movie is directed by the weird Angelina Jolie.
Wow. Okay.
Haven't heard much from her.
No.
So it's really a cool little docudrama comedy. It's called Next Goal Wins. It's streaming on Prime Video and Vudu, national release in September. So during the 2001 World Cup games, the American Samoa soccer team lost every game, including a record 31-0 spanking by Australia.
God, what is happening in American Samoa? I guess they hadn't played the game before.
No. America, Samoa, is my second favorite place in the world, second only to Hawaii.
Wow.
I got an instant pop quiz question for you, Steve.
Okay.
What is the capital of American Samoa?
The capital of American Samoa is Makalaka-Ho. I don't know. No clue.
Pongo.
That's right, of course.
Pongo.
It's just east of Guam.
Is
Maybe?
it?
I don't know.
Southeast, and not to be confused with Western Samoa. The capital there is Apia. They're about 100 miles apart. And my old buddy Vince Scully would say, I can't believe it.
Wow, not bad.
And I can't. But on July 21st, both Barbie, the movie, and Oppenheimer, the movie, are going to open the same date. And Barbie is expected to make $80 million that weekend, and Oppenheimer only $40 million.
What's that based on? Are people ordering tickets in advance? How can they get what? How do you predict what a movie's going to do 2 weeks out?
Hollywood Reporter has a formula, and they're the ones that are making that prediction.
Okay. It sounds like a self-serving prophecy to me. You put the word out that one's going to do better than the other, and then enjoy the fact that you made yourself right.
I just can't believe Oppenheimer's not going to do better. I mean, I'm looking forward to that movie.
I am
Girls
too.
rule, girls rule, boys drool.
Yeah,
Wow. I'm looking forward to both.
Oppenheimer.
And
I'm sorry.
this is the only time I will ever allow anyone to compare me to Tom Cruise, but I plan to see both in the theater.
Well, exactly. And I plan to sing. It's Aloha Friday, no work on Monday. We're going to play the Aloha Fry. Have a great weekend. Talk to you on Monday because it's Lydia Kalani, Lani Anioke, Luku, and the Kaka, Aga, Hui, 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 Ho. Aloha.
There it is.
Oppenheimer.
You know, I've been paying close attention to that song. I thought early on maybe that song was a file that he does it live.
Yeah, no,
He's different every week.
Yeah, that's authentic right there.
Yeah, man, that's art as it happens, ladies
Right.
and gentlemen. It's like watching Picasso paint with snot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sneezed and turned that into what looked to be a sandscape.
That'd be Jackson Pollock.
I will watch. But yeah, no kidding. My kids both did paintings when they were like in lower school that were Pollock-esque, And if you walk into my house and if the light is just right, you might think they're both fascinating pieces of art.
Well, perhaps if they were more abusive people, they would have been famous like him.
Exactly. Look, I'm not one who just knocks art like it doesn't make sense, but I enjoyed the Pollock film. Ed Harris, great stuff. And I get that he was a tortured soul, but I look at Pollock's paintings and I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, I'm sure. Great. Congratulations. Doesn't do a thing for me.
What's spilled?
Whereas, by the way, and I'll say this as long as we're here, there are paintings I look at and I'm terribly moved by it. I'm always shocked. I'm like, why is this doing something to me?
Yeah.
What is happening? So, yeah, it's there, but it doesn't work with Pollock for me.
Yeah, dogs aren't supposed to be playing poker. That's what makes it so magical.
Thank you. God, it's just that simple, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Man, sometimes you just need someone to just cut right through separate the wheat from the chaff, Brian Zepp. How about a history lesson? Let's look back, shall we?
Well, I appreciate a guy who knows his history.
Steve, what's happening? Sports history. In 1985, on this day, a young German named Boris Becker, that's not the name for his junk, his name is actually Boris Becker, became the youngest and first ever unseeded, as well as the first German to ever win the Wimbledon men's finals. He was a 17-year-old Wimbledon champion, if memory serves. Boris Becker hit the scene and I remember watching that Wimbledon final, because it's the final and everybody's like blown away that this German teenager is going to win the thing. 14 years later, he retired after his final Wimbledon match in 1999. While at Wimbledon in 1999, Boris Becker went out for sushi one night at an upscale restaurant called Nobu.
Sounds nice.
I was there that night with my band and with Jimmy Page. We had rehearsed for a gig, and we also went to Nobu. And we saw Boris Becker sitting there. And we were like, hey, that's Boris Becker. Oh, my God, look at him. That's him in the flesh. Wimbledon champ. He's retiring. And we all were really impressed with that. We had a great night. Boris's night that night, a little different. Because he was chatting up the coat check girl.
Okay.
And they had a little tryst in a side room at Nobu that night. And 10 months later, he got a fax that said, you have a daughter in England. Oh. That's a true story.
I love the fax reference.
Yeah, a fax.
It's coming across. What's it say? You have what's it going to be?
A little bit of chemistry with the coat check girl leads down to some rocky roads.
So he was like more rock and roll at that restaurant than you guys probably were. I mean, I don't know what happened.
No, trust me. We were not. There was no coat check tryst happening with our group. We were just like, so what was it like on Led Zeppelin 2 when you were at Olympic Studios? How'd you get that microphone sound? And then Boris Becker's over there banging the coat check girl.
Oh,
way better life. Don't kid yourself.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July the 7th. Happy birthday, Ringo Starr. Happy Friday to the rest of us. I'm in a good mood today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Short work week around here, too. Man, isn't that nice?
That's very nice.
Ooh, baby.
Screw the 4-day work week.
That's what I'm saying. We talk a lot about that. What if you did 4 days a week at 10 hours instead of 5 at 8? How about 3?
How about 3 at regular hours?
Give me a 4-day weekend every weekend, and I'm a happy kid. What can I tell you? Yeah. But you know what? We shouldn't ask for too much. We have good gigs. This is a good gig.
Yeah.
It's a good gig day to day. We're out of here early. You get the afternoon for golf or for naps or for paddle boarding. I wouldn't recommend doing that on Lake Bademakaska. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
Bademakaska right now.
Landing, yeah.
Don't doubt yourself.
And then there's another one called Lake Hiawatha. But E. coli numbers are above acceptable levels, so those 2 lakes are shut down. I imagine others will follow. That seems to be how that works. But like I said, if we wanted to walk around the lake, we got all afternoon to do it. It's a good gig. A lot of benefits to doing morning radio is my point.
Yeah, just dashed outside for a second. It feels like a morning you want to be outside. Cool weather. Been digging that.
It's been very, very nice. Here's some benefits, though. Maybe your job has these, maybe they don't, but this is a list of benefits that a lot of people are offering these days. I guess just to keep the millennials happy, and then, of course, on the heels of a pandemic when everybody went away from work for a couple of years and now they're coming back, one of the things you got to do is make sure people want to come into work. You got to give new benefits. These are some interesting ones. 14% of people surveyed say they have on-site fitness classes. 11% offer on-site massage therapy.
Okay.
Okay.
You lost me, now you have me back.
Let's get to work, KQ. Okay, a massage therapist in here. Come on, man.
Yeah,
What's
Tony
it gonna
just doesn't
take?
get it done.
Who do we got to talk
No.
to? Listen. A Tony Lee shoulder rub is one of God's greatest gifts to
so
the
fast,
human
though.
race.
It's all too brief.
It is brief, and it's always the same thing. Oh, my thumbs wear out. But it's like, okay, fine. I get it. That's fine. It felt good while it was lasting. Boy, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Can you imagine walking off the air and being like, how about 30 minutes on the feet?
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh.
Get to work. Yeah.
Heat up some oil. Put some hot rocks on my calf muscles. Make me feel like I've earned it. 9% of 9% of companies right now are offering health insurance for pets.
I keep hearing about this health insurance for pets. Do you have health insurance on your pets?
No, but I wish I did.
I know people who do that.
No, and I missed the boat on Chauncey Gorman, who, as we know, has got some congenital issues.
Yeah.
Born with. If I had gotten the health insurance before we knew what was wrong with him, boy, it would have saved us some dollars. Good idea. I would. Maybe I should stop talking about his health issues, and maybe I'll find a vet that doesn't look at his records. 8% allow pets at work, and we can happily say, as I look at a sleeping dog behind me, this is one of those places.
That's nice.
That is nice.
Did you even bother asking? How do you know we do?
No.
See, I used to bring Gigi in sometime, and I used to get stuff for it because she barks.
She's a little
loudly.
focal.
Well, there's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, you
Chauncey, he's just a snorter.
Yeah, he's gonna have a reverse sneeze or two.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a reverse sneeze or two. He's gonna hack up a loogie, and then he's gonna go right back to sleep. So we can accept that.
That could be any one of us, really.
I didn't ask. I thought I only asked after he'd been in a few times, because then I thought, well, hang on, I don't want to be like the jerk who just brings in a big dog, because I was already being the jerk who brings in a big dog. And then I was told, no, it's fine. I think maybe if it was later in the day, there may be an issue, but we get in here so early. Come on, it's no big deal.
That's good. He's good for morale around here, I think.
Okay, what about this? 9% of companies say they pay for the minibar if you stay at a hotel on business.
What?
Wow.
Watch out.
Who's that again?
That's called a paid drunk.
Yeah.
Way better than the accidental drunk we discussed earlier in the week.
It's called an enabler.
Those mini bars. You guys ever partaken in the mini bar and got the bill on the checkout?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea, but I was so hungover one time. I was doing a live broadcast, and I thought, sobering up. This is no time to sober up. I've got to drink my way through the show. So I emptied the mini bar into my little briefcase thing, my little satchel bag there, and off to the broadcast I went. It was Ireland, for crying out loud. It was St. Patrick's Day. Man. And, then I got the bill back for that at the Fitzwilliam 5-star Hotel. I think I could have bought a liter of booze for each one of those little bottles. It was shocking.
In the fall of 91, Black Crow's first album, Shake Your Moneymaker, blew up huge. We finished the tour after like 20 months on the road with 2 nights in London at the Hammersmith Odeon. Big. Cool. It was the 350th gig was the last gig. That's a lot of shows. Mm-hmm. And, we were burnt and exhausted, but we were, it was pretty cool. Like, wow, we were playing to nobody a year and a half ago, and now we're like this big band, and it was a really exciting time. We finished in London. My sister Susan lived there. Her husband works for the U.S. State Department. They were living in London. And then we stayed at this hotel, which I can only begin to imagine how much it would cost now. But in 91, it was still a bargain. It was an old school hotel in London right off Hyde Park where all the rooms were like apartments. Like you had a separate bedroom, a little kitchenette, a sitting area, high ceilings. I mean, it was incredible. And at the time, as I said, because we were like, whoa, what is this? And it was still not crazily expensive. But in the room was a full-stocked bar. Like there was a full-size refrigerator, but a literal full bar with liquor and wine and all kinds of things. I just looked at it for 3 days. I didn't touch it. Well, the night the tour ended, my sister and her husband and a few of their guests, all government employees. That's the key word. Government employees came to the show. I said, you guys want to come back and have a cocktail at my room? I got this bar. It's a crazy room. Government employees don't get paid a thing, but they have incredible perks, like they get to live in London in an apartment they're not paying for. They are used to taking advantage of every opportunity given. And I had 6 adult people in my room. They saw a bar, and they just like, we'll just drink everything in this room. I'm watching my brother-in-law make cocktails, like you've opened 4 different bottles of there's only 7 of us here. How about we just have some wine?
Long Island's for everyone.
And I'm like, well, screw it. They're having fun. I'm having fun. I guess I'm a rock star. I'm supposed to be cool with this.
Yeah.
It was over $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
$1,991.
Oh, wow.
I being the youngest, and this is my oldest, I never told my sister for like 3 years. She was like, remember that time we came to your hotel? That was so much fun. And finally one day I looked at her, I go, yeah, it was $1,100. She's like, what? She couldn't believe it. I'm like, yeah, get off the government dole and see how the rest of us live, baby.
Yeah.
You know, I love the stupid kid selling millions of records telling his government employee brother-in-law what the real world's all about.
Yeah, right.
It's great. How about this? 8% of companies give employees a paid day off for their birthday.
What?
Well, that's nice.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
That's a nice touch, I guess.
Yeah, why not?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, now we're getting a little nutty. 5% have an on-site vegetable garden at work. Stop. On-site vegetable garden.
No, that's more work.
It's called the frozen green giant spinach.
Yeah.
Let's stop this.
Take the mini bar.
2% do a take your parent to work day.
Oh, that could be a wild morning around here.
I would never do it, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Imelda Gorman, patron saint of all things good and holy, she'd take over the show. You put a microphone in front of that woman, she's singing, she's talking, she's carrying on, she's telling stories. She would be so beloved that I'd be an afterthought. She would take my gig.
No, James right now is going, I have an idea.
Yeah.
Let's get her in here.
Yeah, she would.
I don't know
And you know what? You haven't lived until you've heard her barbershop harmonize along to rock classics.
Oh, wait a minute.
I smell a game show.
We'd come out of every set break, and she'd be more than a feeling. Hitting these harmonies you didn't know existed. It'd be great. I'm telling you, man.
I don't know if we could start the day with our penis nicknames, but
there was come on, she's got 8 kids.
Yeah, that's true.
There was one time when I heard my mom singing along to a Black Crow song called Horsehead, which is all about heroin.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Horsehead got you, and I was like, Mom, you sure about that?
thought it was a Godfather reference.
2% of jobs offer on-site haircuts. Let's go.
Yeah, all right.
Come on.
Sure, that's a little weak. Although I was talking to a guy the other day, he works in and I'm sorry, Jeff, I don't remember exactly where you work, but he works in, as a mechanic at a car dealership.
Right.
And they have a on-site full-time chiropractor.
Okay, now I would be totally down for that.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not quite a massage therapist, but that's not bad. But those mechanics, they're in weird positions.
That's
true.
They
work for a living.
Okay, here's the last one we need to get into. And actually, no, there's another one. I missed this. Of course, I overlooked this one. 2% will help women pay to have their eggs frozen.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right. That's
okay.
Odd.
Sure. No, I mean, why not? They're taking away your best years to work and slave away.
No, they're not. You actually can have a kid, and I think you get every Minnesotan now gets paid time off.
See
I
there?
don't know about that.
Actually, it's a law.
Well, I hope so. I didn't know that.
Didn't they pass that paid time off? Anyway, the company does, Candace. You get 8 weeks here at good old Cumulus.
Sounds like
I better go saddle up.
2024 is baby year for someone.
That sounds so sexy. I better go saddle up.
Did you see what the eggs frozen thing? It's not for the employee, it's for the employer. What they're saying is don't have a baby. Don't take 8 weeks off.
Right.
Just chain yourself to your desk. Stay right there in your little cage cubicle. And we'll freeze some eggs for you, and then when you're retired, you can have a baby. When you're out of here, you can have a baby. I think that one's selfish.
The KQ Morning Show, saddling up with Candace Wheeler. An in-depth, day-by-day report.
Someone was in the freezer and stole her eggs. I thought that. I know. I thought it was those yogurt pops.
Here's good Lord, that
Yikes.
even got me. Final.
That even got me.
2% of jobs have a room at work that is specifically for taking naps, which somehow is different than every other room in this building. I could go to sleep right now. Sitting here, put my head on the desk, I'm out.
For a long time, for decades, we didn't have a couch in the building, and I know that was on purpose. They're like, we put a couch in here, and these SOBs are going to be living here. They're going to be napping all the time.
Sure.
But now we have that comfy thing over there across the hall. I'm thinking about it right now.
There are very few places I've ever been where I couldn't sleep. I'll just say that right now. Real good at taking a power nap.
No doubt about that. All right, hey, we've got to scoot along here. We've got a jam-packed show with game show, a couple of guests this morning, and we haven't told you how to poop. You're doing it all wrong. We have an expert that's going to tell you how to poop at 7:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July the 7th. Good morning. We've all been pooping wrong. That's right. That's right. All of us. We're just bad poopers. That's what the lesson is of the day. Come on, Zeb. You mentioned it before. You said there's a doctor out there. He's telling us all what we're doing wrong. Dr. Karan Rajan is a surgeon in Great Britain. He's got a lot of people who follow him on TikTok and Instagram. And he has explained that people, mostly in Western countries, that would be us, we're in the West, we've probably been pooping wrong our whole lives. I'm sorry to break it to you. But, what could be more important than getting yourself straight in terms of releasing? I don't know.
Tell me more.
What else do you need to know? Here's the deal. It's if you want to really be the healthiest you can be, if you want to have what he calls a truly wonderful dump, it's real simple. Focus on the angles. Here's a quote. Focus on the angles, particularly the angle between your abdomen and your thighs. Make this as small as possible. So things that people probably do naturally without thinking about it. You want to raise your heels so they're leaning on the balls of your feet, thereby placing your knees above the hips. That's the essential thing here. You have a thing that you've heard of called the potty. What is it? The squatty potty.
Squatty potty.
Basically, it's like a little footstool. If you just get your knees up above your hips, you're doing yourself a service. Traveling around the world, I've gone into public bathrooms. There's a urinal, and then there's a thing. It's just a hole on the floor. I've been in bathrooms where the instead of a toilet like you're used to, there's a hole in the floor and you squat over it. The squatting position is the way a lot of people get their business done. Apparently it's much quicker, much easier. All you need is taken care of. Boom, squat over a hole, let it loose. And I trust that these cultures who are far older than America understand that, but no, sorry, that's not going to happen. No, I need to sit down. You swatted over the hole?
Oh, yeah. In Italy, yeah. If you're up in the mountains, you don't really have much choice.
Sure. If you don't have a choice, no, granted, I get it. If you don't have a choice, you got to do what you got to do. But if you're talking about, moving this to the home front, say, hey, I'll just do this at home now. No, that's not going to happen.
Well,
I'm comfortable. I like sitting down. I mean, I get a lot done in there. I'm reading, checking Twitter.
Yeah.
A friend of mine went to rehab a few years ago, and I went to visit him, and he'd been, just getting himself together. He's about a month into recovery, which is a pretty vulnerable, pretty tough time in someone's life. And I went to see him as soon as I could, and I said, "How is it?" And he goes, "When's the last time you took a dump without your phone?" That's the first thing he said. He goes, I can't remember going to the bathroom without my phone. He goes, they took his phone away. You get to recovery. It's like you don't have your phone. He goes, yeah, the biggest adjustment. I'm like, your biggest adjustment isn't being sober. It's simply not having your phone when you poo. And he goes, yeah, it's impossible.
I'm alone with my thoughts.
Hello? Am I on yet?
You are.
Oh.
Brian.
I don't. Yeah, all right.
Can you not hear yourself?
No, I was I was chit-chatting there, but I don't know what I did. I must have hit the wrong button. We're sitting there talking, and I had just one of my more brilliant, profound lines ever, and all lost. I don't know what I did.
You weren't squatting properly.
I was right. I don't know. I wasn't in the poo position. I don't know. Sorry about that. Sorry to interrupt.
No, these things happen.
I was chit-chatting and my needles were moving here on the board, but I wasn't being heard. I thought I was being ignored.
Most importantly for this doctor, I would say even more important than poo protocols, he also has a video where he explains why it's so very important to never hold in a fart. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Always let the gas go. Why? Oh, hang on now. If you hold in a fart too long, it can be reabsorbed into your bloodstream and breathed out when you exhale. So every time from now on, I will never be in a conversation with someone with bad breath and not be thinking, just let the fart out. This is way worse.
Quit farting out of your mouth.
Funny.
You think you're being polite, by not passing gas, but now I have to worry about what you're eating. Come on.
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't know that because for the longest time, my mom did not tolerate farting or burping in the house. Of course, she had to say, excuse me, or try to get to the bathroom to fart or something like that. That was acceptable, but she was just so, no, that behavior, well, I won't stand for it, that I just held them in for the longest time. Plus, I was single for so dang long of my life, my adult life, that you just have to hold them in. I mean, that's... Right. I'll tell you how many times I'd get out the front door, shut that door after leaving someone's place, and just... It was just the greatest.
Man.
But yeah, I was holding them in, so I had, but it was working against me. I had poop breath. No wonder I was single for so long.
See, everything's always connected. The pieces always fit when you just take a look at the puzzle board.
Right.
It all seems to come together. I grew up in a house. There was just 6 boys. There was no shortage of farting and burping going on.
It's a constant symphony.
You had to say excuse me. You were requested to leave the room. Get up and walk out of the room at least. But there was a lot of noises going on. But oddly enough, not from my dad. He was very self-conscious about bodily sounds.
Yeah.
He was the guy who would, nothing worse than the sound of someone peeing in a toilet. So he would always be like peeing onto the side of the bowl, so you'd never hear it hit the water.
Do you turn the water on at the same time to mask
turn
it?
the water on, pee on the bowl, flush while peeing, the whole thing. Like, he had a thing where it was like if you could hear, I guess in his mind, if you heard my urine hit the water, that's my, that's my kryptonite.
Yeah,
it weakened him as an authority figure somehow to admit that he had bodily functions.
Oh, are you sure he just wasn't sitting in there smoking or something like that, doing something else?
No, that was always outside. He would walk outside. That was funny. He also, when he started smoking again, my dad stopped smoking in the early 60s, picked it back up in the mid 70s, and acted like, what?
Huh?
What do you mean? I've always been smoking. No, you haven't. Then why are you outside in the dark? Why did I walk up? Why did I see the flickering ember from your fingertip?
Right.
Well, it was funny to catch your dad doing something. I was returning home. I was babysitting one night, like 8th grade, and I'm walking across my front yard, and I see the silhouette of my old man outside by the carport and that little orange glowing the stub of a cigarette. And I'm like, oh my God, my dad's smoking. He hasn't smoked in years. And as I approached, I realized he had no idea I was coming. So I did I just did one of those.
Sure.
And I watched that orange thing go, pew. He flicked it away immediately. And I totally busted him. And I didn't say anything, of course. And I was like, what's so weird? What are you doing?
He started
and then I'm
brush fire.
That's why he's chewing gum all the time now.
I love the people that try to hide their smoking. No, I don't smoke anymore. There's nothing. I mean, you can't hide smoking. Have you smelled it? You can a mile away, for crying out loud. There's no hiding smoking.
There's a few things that you just it's pointless to try when you're in junior high school. Your hormones are going to betray you every time as a boy. You're just walking around hard as a rock and like, why is your geography book right there? I'm trying to get to class, man. Just bear with me.
Shirts untucked today.
Yeah, always. And the other one is, of course, to your point. Like, anyone who says no, I don't smoke anymore. It's like, really? You're sweating it out. It's like between the crap breath from holding in your farts and the fact that you're sweating smoke. We know we're onto you.
Right.
Give it up. Give up the ghost.
Dating someone that didn't want me smoking pot. And this was back when I, just didn't live honestly in a relationship. I felt like I kind of had to fib my way through it because I didn't at that time want to give up pot for this relationship.
Right.
And about a month in, she's like, obviously, I know you're getting stoned every time you walk out for 5 minutes. It's pot. The neighbors can smell it. Everyone can smell it. What? I don't. I don't. I've got little Listerine breath strips. What do you mean you can smell it? Yeah, it's pot.
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I remember a time when, very clearly, when all the bars, when everybody suddenly, like overnight, you couldn't smoke in bars anymore.
Yeah.
And then smoking used to be just everywhere. And I remember there being a time when I went, I can smell that cigarette from like 100 yards away. Like once you stop smelling smoke everywhere, it became so clear when one person within a quarter of a mile was smoking.
Nashville.
Such a weird thing.
No one smokes around here any longer, I don't think. You don't run into it a lot in Minnesota in general. Yeah, I know a lot of listeners do it. Hey, I don't. whatever you want to take a drag off of. I'm not judging at all, but I just don't run into it much. We're down in Nashville doing the live broadcast down there in the Tobacco Belt. Now, to be fair, Nashville's a bit like Vegas now. So many party people come to town. I'm not just saying people in Nashville smoke a lot, but we were around it so much. On every street corner you walk past, it was so noticeable because I had been away from it for a while. But yeah.
Santa's Pub had ashtrays everywhere.
Are you familiar with this place down there, Steve? Santa's Pub on the outskirts somewhere?
Am I familiar with it? I can't believe you guys know about it.
Oh, we had great karaoke night.
Holy
damn.
smokes.
Still have the ashtrays out. I love it. They just embrace it. They're like, smoking what? It's illegal?
Well, that place specifically, yeah. And that's right, that's like across the street now from the new soccer stadium. So that whole neighborhood is changing very rapidly. Condos are going up, bars, restaurants. It's becoming very trendy. And there's old Santa's Pub, that trailer, still just on that little bare-ass, no grass in the yard looking little lot. Yeah, no. If you want to go get and by the way, they used to, it's called Santa's Pub because it's always snowing inside. If you need a cigarette or something a little stronger, you know right where to go, baby.
And today's National Dive Bar Day. Did you know that? All those goofy days they have, it's...
My goodness. Well, that's one in Nashville. There's so many great dive bars in this town. I've poked my head in a bunch. I haven't been in and had drinks, but just driving around in just in Northeast, like the neighborhood where I'm living. I have taken to every few days. I just want to go check one out for because I'm going to need to know where these are at some point.
Nice.
God, there's so many truly great bars. That's the only problem in the South. The South loves to reinvent itself constantly. Like, they knock down old buildings down there without thinking twice. It drives me crazy, both in Atlanta and Nashville. Man, I get up here, and I'm like, oh, my God, an old bar that looks like no one's touched it in years? That's perfection.
Oh, my God.
You just don't get those.
Northeast is full of them.
Yeah, if you're free tonight, the Terminal Bar in Northeast, we're having my friend Danny's band, the Denim Boys, is having a show.
The Denim Boys?
Yes.
What kind of music are we talking about?
It's like rock.
Like rock?
They all wear denim, so you have to wear denim if you go. I prefer to wear all denim, so I'll wear a denim top and a denim bottom and denim.
How 70s of
yeah. So we're celebrating Danny's 30th birthday, and it's going to be awesome. The Terminal Bar is great, cash only.
Yeah.
Perfection.
That classic dive bar, Northeast, for sure. Yeah. That's one of those must stops. The Terminal.
That is awesome. That reminds me, my favorite band name, probably my favorite band name ever. There's a band from Portland, Oregon, started in 2000 or 2001. The name of the band was I Can Lick Any Son of a Bitch in the House. They played for years. They were a real band. That was their band name.
Literally, or whoop your ass? I guess it's open to interpretation.
More of a fighting vibe from them. But,
for sure.
Whatever it takes. So wow, yeah, okay, that's really funny. You guys knew Santa's Pub. The Black Crowes were recording in Nashville in 1997, just some demos that ended up not going anywhere. And someone said, "Oh, you got to go to this place, Santa's Pub." It's the first time I ever went. And we all walked in there en masse, and there was a band playing, just a local band, and in Nashville, everybody's such a great player. Right away, we're like, man, that guitar player is awesome. Man, that bass player is great. And there was this piano player. He was amazing, and he looked like Opie Taylor. He looked like a child. And we're like, who is that little kid playing piano? And then somebody said, he's a teenager. His dad is at all of his gigs because his dad has to bring him into these clubs. He's not old enough to be here. He's 15 at the time, or 16. And so we looked, and there's his dad sitting next to the stage watching him, and this kid was tearing it up. And the Crowes piano player, Eddie Harsh, was a brilliant, brilliant musician, and he didn't give anybody props. And he was like, man, that kid is all right. So we're like, man, even Ed likes him. We're chatting him up after the show, and he's like a high school junior or senior or whatever, and he's just like, hey, man, I like playing music. And then a few years later, that kid gets hired to play on a Paul McCartney record in 2001, made in L.A. The producer tracked him down, knew him. So this kid, who now at the age of 20 is in L.A., plays on a McCartney record, and McCartney takes the studio band and says, I want you guys to come on tour with me. To this day, that has been his band. It's the longest band McCartney's ever had, except the piano player from Nashville at 20 said, I'm good. I'm going to do my own thing. And he turned it down. Really? And his name is Gabe Dixon. He had a big hit song called All Would Be Well that was on Parks and Rec or Community, one of those shows.
All right.
But he's now, and he put out his own records, has done his own thing for years. He's now in the Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Oh, are you kidding me?
And he's a great kid, great guy now. I've known him for years, but I first met him. He was like this prodigy. And it's funny because he's the guy around Nashville. He's like, it's funny when you talk to him about it because he's like, yeah, I'm the guy that turned down Paul McCartney. He's been hearing about it forever.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July the 7th. Richard Starkey is 83 years old today, the drummer for the Beatles. My favorite drummer of all time. I'm not going to say he's the greatest ever. That's subjective, but he's my favorite. Because God knows when I was 5 years old and the first time I ever heard Ticket to Ride, I said, that sounds cool. I'm going to do that. And man, happy 83. And when's the last time you saw Ringo Starr and thought to yourself, yeah, he looks like an 83-year-old man? Doesn't really happen.
He's ageless.
Guy is popping around on stage, singing, dancing, drumming. You know, the singing, yeah, it's okay. But the drumming's great. The showmanship is great. And, boy, what about that whole Thomas the Tank Engine run he had, too?
Oh, that's right.
Great stuff.
Thomas the Tank Engine. Ever get out and see his all-star band?
Many times.
Yeah, a couple of times. It comes through town. Just about every year he did it. I think they always had a Minneapolis stop.
He's going to be here October or November.
Yeah, with his brother-in-law. Or is his brother-in-law Joe Walsh?
Yes, they are married to the Bach sisters.
That's right.
Boy, that Thomas the Tank Engine was great with the kids, and I just loved it. And Percy was so angry and upset. And oh man, I go deep. I was so happy when my son decided he loved Thomas the Tank Engine because I was like, this is great. I'll play with toy trains all day long. Thank you very much. But speaking of playing, we got a game to play, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to give away tickets to the sold-out Lakefront Music Festival with Lynyrd Skynyrd and REO Speedwagon. That's Friday, July 14th at Lakefront Park in Prior Lake. We're going to play a game, of course. We have two listeners ready to compete. Tony, what is today's game, sir?
This is going to be kind of a challenge, kind of odd, but hopefully tons of fun.
Tennis.
Make love.
Tennis.
Make love.
Tennis, anyone?
All right. Contestants, we're going to be playing a sound, and you'll guess, is it a power grunt of a tennis player?
Okay.
Or a reaction from a participant in an adult movie? I'm calling this Serve or Perv. Let's play.
Great. Scott.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, just so to be clear ahead of time, is there going to be a trick question where it's both? Are we going to have any? Is there a chance that a sound is someone having sex on a tennis court while playing?
Wow, all of them I think will sound like that. So
okay,
it's a guessing game.
It's one or the other, serve or perv.
It is definitely one or the other.
Man, it is definitely the weekend around here. All right, Tony. We trust you as always. Let's play a little serve or perv. Candace, who is contestant number one?
Jesse from Minneapolis.
Jesse, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you a tennis player?
I have been, yeah.
Okay. Are you loud when you play tennis, or do you just do you keep it inside?
You cannot be serious.
Attaboy.
Be serious.
Attaboy.
Love that guy.
I like it. All right, Jesse, good luck to you, sir. Tony's going to lead you down the serve or perv gilded highway.
All right, let's listen to these fine sounds. It'll either be serve or perv. Here's your first one.
That's got to be a serve.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Very good.
All right, number two.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Wow.
Someone's having a good time.
Someone just hurt their uvula.
That sounded rather pervy.
Yes. Wow. It's got a very discerning ear.
Yeah.
Very discerning ear. Jesse with an ear for tennis and sex.
Yeah.
Well done.
I've been told by management, by the way, not to describe the sounds in too great a detail.
Oh,
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, number three.
What? What in the world? What?
Sounds familiar.
I was just going to say backdoor. No.
Give me
Brian,
that one again.
what did I
Tony.
just say?
I know. Sorry.
What did I just say?
Give me
I
number
was
3.
talking.
Oh my God. Sounds like somebody from Land of the Lost.
A slee stack.
A slee stack.
Jesse, what do you think?
I think that's from Wimbledon. That's served.
Good for you.
Jeez,
Wow.
dude. Yeah, that's
Wow.
not what I was thinking.
Hang on, are
Very
you
well.
using Shazam for these?
She's-
Lendl, 1987.
Shazam.
All right, here's number 4. Server Perv.
Perv.
What'd you call me?
Yes.
I was going to say Hingis at the French in 1998.
He's doing very well.
Very well, man.
All right, 2 more.
Someone help that woman.
Let's have it, Jesse.
Perv.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
That I know it's a very unusual one, but that was a tennis serve.
That was a tennis serve. Man. Andrea Yeager.
All right, one more for you, young man.
oh my God.
That sounds perv.
Yes,
No.
correct.
Is the term spitter? I mean, no, all right. I'm sorry.
Brian?
Certainly
All right,
does.
I don't. Is my mic still on?
Brian.
Jesse, 5 for 6. Wow.
Wow.
On what we'll call a virgin trial for Server Perv. He
Yeah.
went 5 for 6. Well done, sir.
Yeah.
It's a strong start. All right, so we're going to put you on hold, and we've got to see what contestant number 2 has up their sleeve. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Cindy from Lester Prairie.
Cindy, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you a tennis player?
No, but I'm a perv.
Okay. It's good to be one or the other, and we appreciate your honesty here. So, all right, Tony's going to take you down the path. Serve or perv, you get 6 chances here. Good luck to you.
All right, dear.
I'm ready.
Here's your first sound. One more.
Perv.
I'm sorry?
We're gonna do a perv.
Oh, I'm sorry.
man.
That is Tennessee.
Damn it.
Yeah, that had double-handed backhand written all over it.
Yeah. Break point, I believe.
All right, here's your next sound.
Perv.
Oh,
I'm sorry. It's another.
I knew it.
man.
Yeah.
That's
Go with your
one.
gut.
That's one I was definitely hoping was tennis.
Gotta go with your gut.
I already
nervous.
lost.
No,
Well,
we're all
no.
winners here today,
Yes.
except you. But listen, we're still having fun. So here's your third sound.
Right.
That sounds familiar.
Okay, we're gonna go serve.
Hey,
Yes.
there you go.
All right.
There it is.
Yeah.
Feels good. All right. Here's your next one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Perv.
Yes.
What was going on there?
I don't
Let your
know.
imagination run free.
All right, 2 more.
Perv.
I'm
It's a
sorry?
Perv. Perv.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, here's your last one.
Definitely perv.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a serve.
Really?
Dang.
Yes. Dang.
I need more practice.
Well, volunteers.
Oh, you did very well.
Yeah.
No, it's a good
Oh, is that
it's
it?
a good time for all of us.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, you performed admirably. I was, by the way, I always like to play along with these games.
Yeah.
I didn't do very well in those.
No, I was listening for the concussive, the sound of the.
Yeah.
Hope, but sometimes it still didn't matter.
Not easy to
Right.
cut that out.
Yeah, because sometimes you've got the sound of a ball hitting a racket.
Right.
Sometimes you've got the racket of a ball hitting something else.
Right.
I make a lot of those noises in my daily life just by opening pickle jars, and I'm very vocal.
Really? A grunter and a groaner?
Yeah. just
Okay.
normal
How about
day
when you play
taps.
tennis? There
I
she
wouldn't
is.
know, Brian. I wouldn't know.
Never played.
Never played.
Pickleball?
Nope, it's a cult. I'm not playing. Not getting
Ping pong?
involved.
There's a first for everything.
Yeah.
It's Candace opening the Skippy jar.
Wow.
I've just gotta remove this light bulb.
Yeah. Now that she's into the peanut butter.
Oh my God.
Oh, anywho.
Hang on a second. Hang on. I've got this broom to get that spider web out of the corner. Cindy, thanks for playing. That was great. We appreciate your pervy fun. And Jesse, congrats, sir. You have got tickets to see Skinnerd and REO Speedwagon at the sold-out Lakefront Music Festival for Friday, July 14th at Lakefront Park in Prior Lake. Prize provided by the Prior Lake Rotary. Congrats.
All right.
All right. Gonna rock out. Skinnerd and REO Speedwagon. Leonard Skinnerd continuing to play. After we lost Gary Rossington earlier this year, there's no original members left. Don't let that dissuade you from seeing the show if possible. The Skinnerd people don't take anything lightly or for granted. That's a hell of a band.
Yeah. And Medlock's still in the band, who was originally, before they started recording with the band. But
they left and then came back. And Ricky Medlock, that's right.
That's right. And I think he wanted to be a guitarist, but they already had several then. so he went off in Blackfoot and all that good stuff. But yeah, outstanding. And you got a Van Zandt in there.
Yeah, take a number, dude. Do you want to be a guitarist in Skinnerd? We're loaded for bear.
Mm-hmm.
Make no mistake about it. REO Speedwagon, Kevin Cronin's still going. I know Gary Ritrath, he's no longer with us.
Right.
I don't know what the rest of that lineup is. But
I don't know, but Cronin, I just watched a YouTube video the other day of him performing this spring and sounding fantastic. So that's REO Speedwagon right there. That's a show.
That is a show. Wow. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about you asked Candace if she ever played ping pong. And listening to that game, I was reminded when I was in college, I had a little bit of a ping pong moment in the sun. I got really good at it.
Yeah.
Or at least I thought I was really good at it until I played like the campus champ, and then he just destroyed me. But there was a lot of ping pong in my dorm, and it was very competitive. And I was walking down the hallway one day, and I heard from the game room, just a series of, and I looked in and I saw two just tremendous athletic, just He-Man hunks that I knew, great all-around versatile athletes playing ping pong, and they were playing a style of the game they called Chrissy ball. And every time, and it was nothing but lobs, ping pong, not tennis. They were hitting the ball as high and as softly as possible and making Chris Everett sounds on every stroke.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And it was called Chrissy ball, and the games would take an hour. They're just like, and just lob, high, bounce. And they just, it was not like for 3 points. They would play a full game of Chrissy ball. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
That does sound hilarious. What about beer pong, Candace? You ever played that one? All right, there you go.
All the time.
All right, there you go.
I was getting some beer pong stories last night. My son's in for a few days. He came into Minneapolis 2 nights ago from Vegas. And he fancies himself a bit of a poker player these days. That's a hobby he picked up during the pandemic. He's actually really good at it, which is cool and really alarming. But he found himself in a beer pong game in Vegas, and it was funny. He goes, "Yeah, I mean, I've been in college for a few years. I thought I was pretty good at beer pong, but man, there's some ringers out there." I'm like, everybody in Vegas is a ringer. Just don't compete at anything in that town. Just get in and get out.
Yeah, there are YouTube videos of guys playing beer pong that are standing on decks and throwing it on picnic tables out in the yard and putting it in the cup. It's nuts. My mom, surprisingly enough, came out to one of my daughter's parties in Prior Lake, and they got her into the beer pong. Got a cowboy hat on mom's head and started her with the beer pong. And I was like, here we go. Thank goodness she's a little gal. We can carry her to bed easily enough. But she was dunking those bad boys. I was like, Mom, who knew?
Man, no kidding.
Yeah, got skills.
Well, it's important to get to know your parents, in different ways as we all age. We realize that they knew everything the whole time, and they just put up with our insanity.
I love it. There's a show that I did not know existed, but I'm excited about. Barbecue Brawl and Barbecue USA. Yeah.
Candace is well aware of these shows.
I love the Food Network.
I mean, this one's premiering, but I had no idea it was coming up that this show, something like this existed. But we're going to be speaking with Sunny Anderson about brand new seasons of Barbecue Brawl and Barbecue USA. That one premiering back-to-back this Monday. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In a few moments, Sunny Anderson will join us. You've probably seen her on the Food Network. For many, many years, she's hosted several shows. She's got a new one. She's joining Barbecue Brawl, a 10-episode competition series. Whew, baby. Bobby Flay, Amberell, and Sunny Anderson will be coaching 12 of the best pitmasters across the country in high-stakes challenges to determine who's the master of Q. Barbecue is absolutely a brawl waiting to happen in the South. Everybody, there's several, there's all these different styles. People, it's funny, one of the telltale things, someone goes, I like Carolina barbecue. Well, is it North Carolina or South Carolina? Is it East or West? Because let me tell you something, down there, they care about which you are referring to. Mm-hmm. I myself, I prefer the Eastern style North Carolina. That's my personal.
How would you define that?
Yeah. That is you've got your meat in a vinegar-based sauce, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of red pepper. Okay. It's a thinner sauce. It's what I call the OG, if you will. But Western North Carolina, that's when you start to add tomatoes or ketchup into the mix. And then in South Carolina, you've got a bunch of different things. The PD region, they call it, PEEDEE. You have Eastern-style North Carolina, but you take out the sugar. You've got the vinegar, black pepper, salt, and cayenne. It's pepperier, a little hotter. It's also excellent, but there are times when it's just a bit too much for me.
Yeah, might be making one of those server perv sounds.
Yeah. And by the way, I like it all. I mean, if you're saying you only get one, I almost always say Eastern North Carolina, that style. But I like a good everything. I even like oddly enough, the one I'm least enamored with is like Memphis, like the dry rub, rendezvous. It's just the dry rub ribs,
I do like a good dry rub. Yeah, but slop it on.
Yeah, right? I like the slop. I like using a lot of napkins. All right, Sunny Anderson is on the phone with us right now from the Food Network. Sunny, good morning.
Morning.
We were just discussing, Sunny, the fact I've spent most of my life in the South, and when you say barbecue competition, I immediately think them's fighting words.
I mean, I think them fighting words, too, because I spent a lot of time in the South.
Yep.
So I know Bobby's an Iron Chef, and she won last season. She's an Iron Chef, and I'm a home cook. But I'm here to win. I'm here to show these fools what it's all about.
That's the attitude.
So their reductions and their foams and their craziness at the grill.
Wow, I like that. We were just discussing the difference between, North Carolina, South Carolina, East, West. Throughout the South, you've got different regions. Is there a Sunny style? Is there one particular that you prefer? Do you have a style of barbecue that is your favorite?
I do, actually. It's an amalgam of three, right? Because I lived in all three. I lived in Texas, North and South Carolina.
Oh, man.
So if you add that, tartness that you get, the sweetness that you get from North and South Carolina, but then that smoky vibe, and maybe throw it on some brisket, I mean, I'm in heaven. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're in California this season, which I had never even thought of California as being a barbecue place. You know, we'd all heard of Kansas and Memphis and things of that nature. But being in California, I learned. And at 48, it's nice to learn, right? It's nice to,
Sure.
You think you know everything, but you really don't, especially when there's food involved. There's so many different things. But so we focused on California barbecue. and they have a Santa Maria grill. Have you guys ever seen one of these things before?
No.
No, this is all new information for me.
It looks like some kind of like medieval ancient apparatus, but it was invented and popularized in Cali, and it's literally just a huge grill that you can like lower the boom, if you will, with like this crank. You know, you're on the side cranking it with the chains and everything.
Yeah.
It feels super cool to cook with. I think everyone's going to want one when they watch Barbecue Brawl.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of fun, and we made lots of different types of barbecue.
Man, it sounds like it. What part of California are you in? What part of the state did this come from?
So we were in Northern California. We flew into San Francisco, and it was in this area close to Half Moon Bay. So really beautiful scenery, horses everywhere. We were on a horse farm, and it was just, it was a lot of fun. We were obviously so close to the water. We got a lot of fresh fish and seafood. So some of the challenges, we feature local ingredients. And even one of the challenges, we have the locals come in and enjoy a barbecue where each of the teams cooks for the locals. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's Sonny. I'm looking at, I Googled the Santa Maria grill. Immediately, I want one. You're right. It looks like medieval. Looks like the rack or something like that. It's got wheels. Grills are going up and down. So if I watch on Monday, I'm going to see the Santa Maria grill in action.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Listen, I walked in and I immediately was like, what is that? I have no shame in my not knowing game, but, and a couple of the chefs that we had, the competitors are from all over the country. A couple of them had never seen it before either. And then there were obviously some Californians that were like, are you kidding me? Let me show you how this thing works. Yeah. So in addition to that, we used the typical kettle grills, and we also, on some challenges, have different cooking apparatus that I just won't go into because I think that they're secrets. But some things are coming up that are like, what? You cooked with a what? You
That's
did
awesome.
What?
Sonny, what's the last dish you had that you'd like never even heard of? What's the last how did this ever elude my radar before now thing you ate? What comes to mind?
Oh gosh! Oh wow! You know what? I just looked at it. It's not a dish, but it's an ingredient that rocked my world, and it was on this show. I'm talking to you guys in my pantry because it's where I can stay away from.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. It's so loud out there. It's vinegar powder. Have you ever heard of white vinegar powder?
No.
Okay, well, let me just tell you. It's one of the most used ingredients on Barbecue Brawl. These chefs that are coming from all over the place, like I said, were obsessed with it. And we used it for a couple of things, and I thought, I have got to get this in my life. So I just went on Amazon, and I bought it in one of those big canisters. But I use it on things like, I'll fry up some French fries. I'll just shake it on the French fries with, some salt. And it gives you that salt and vinegar vibe, You can put it into rubs for chicken or fish. Vinegar powder, play with it.
Wow. All right. I've put it down on my list of things, vinegar powder. You grew up bouncing all over the place as an Army brat. When did you start to figure, I'm kind of into food. I like more than just, a bowl of cereal in a day.
Well, yeah. I left home, right? Because my mom, she was an amazing cook. My dad was as well. And when I joined the Air Force at 18 and moved to Korea, it was like, I got to figure this out because I don't want to eat at the mess hall every day. And I was in radio, so my hours are really weird. It's not like, when you get off at 2 in the morning, you can go to the mess hall and get something to eat. So I had to figure it out. So I spent a lot of time, calling home and asking my mom and dad where to find things at the grocery store, how to cook things, because, even growing up, my mom didn't let me in the kitchen much. It was kind of her domain,
Sure. Well, going to Korea at that age, that can be pretty daunting and intimidating for a lot of reasons, especially with food. Did you get into the Korean cuisine?
100%. Yeah, I was in Seoul, Korea, at a base called Yongsan, and just outside of the base was a little Americanized area called Itaewon. And pretty much from the night that I got there to the end, you know, we were off base, eating, drinking, enjoying the local economy. I've been back for a book tour. I wanted to go back to the military base and visit the former, you know, military members. And yeah, I loved it. I love food, and I grew up in the military with my parents moving around, and everywhere we lived, they liked to go off base and eat the local food. So it's kind of how I ended up, I think, in a food career by accident. In that I love to eat, so I like to cook. And I like to talk.
Yeah, you make me want to cook. I just watched you make this really bomb, like roasted tomato soup with the melty cheese bread. It was so it's just it was really fun watching you make that because it seems so easy, but seeing that you can do it makes me believe I can do it.
Well, people, you know, I just put a recipe up the other day before 4th of July, and I'm like, listen, it's foolproof. Not like I'm not calling you a fool, but you know, truthfully, if I can do it, right, and I'm super basic. You know, if you see me do it, rest assured you can do it, right? There is no trickery. I'm not doing any magician stuff. You know, I'm not ashamed to say things like I know how to make rice, but I also love buying that microwave packet of rice and adding stuff to it to make it look like I did something. You know what I mean? So,
sure.
A good shortcut gets food on the dinner or table every day.
Sonny Anderson's with us on the KQ Morning Show this Monday, July 10th. Brand new seasons of Barbecue Brawl and Barbecue USA premiere back-to-back. Barbecue Brawl, a 10-episode competition series with Bobby Flay, Amberell. Sonny Anderson will be coaching 12 pitmasters from across the country to determine who will be named the Master of Q. I can damn well guarantee you that whoever comes in last place would blow me away with whatever they're making. I would happily take the loser's barbecue for life.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see who's going to actually win this thing. Sonny, thank you so much for taking the time. It's great to talk with you.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Just so you know, I grazed the entire time. I ate it all, honey.
I hope you don't mind that I say I completely assumed that would be the case. I'd be disappointed with anything else.
Word.
All right. Thanks, Sonny.
I love
All right, I'll take care.
See ya. Man,
I like she had that pantry echo in there, that pantry reverb.
I would get in so much trouble. Well, I wouldn't get in trouble. I would just put on 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Putting together 10 episodes of barbecue competition, I would strap on a feed bag in pre-production and not remove it until post-production had wrapped.
Can you imagine just being on the crew? Because every time they make these things, I saw a couple of, I think it's season 4 or 5, I forget now, but I remember season 2, channel surfing, finding it and going, oh yeah, this is fantastic barbecue. And everyone makes the big barbecue. They fill it up, you know?
Yep.
The grill, it's full. And you're thinking, okay, now it's cut. We got it. And the judges come over and they have a little bite, you know, a little plate full. I'm like, you know that crew is just feasting.
What's left over? Yeah.
It's just reminding me. I've spent a lot of time in Austin, Texas, but I've still never been to Franklin's Barbecue. You've heard of this? This guy This guy Aaron Franklin does a brisket that when he opened his place in Austin, it set the entire town on its ear. And to this day, you're standing in a line for an hour to 2 hours just to get a plate of food.
Wow.
And everybody that goes walks in there a cynic and walks out a believer. and they say a huge part of it is the wait. You're smelling it for 90 minutes. You're watching other people have server perv orgasmic reactions to their brisket.
It's foreplay.
And I've talked to a lot of people. Like guy. I have a couple friends who are huge foodies. They would never call themselves chefs because they're cooks at home, but to me they're chefs, and they're like, no, you've had brisket, but you've never had anything like this. And I'm like, what is this one guy do? But I got to do it. But man, that conversation with Sonny, I'm dying for some barbecue right now.
Yeah, I know it.
But for real.
Yeah, I was just thinking, so you could be on the crew for Barbecue Brawl, right? Or on the crew for Hoarders.
Yeah. I was always fascinated with how television worked. I got into production, found myself, I'm a pretty good line producer. What are you working on now? Hoarders. I just mostly take a lot of showers.
Put your hazmat on and off to work
these houses, and my hands smell like gunk for 9 years.
Mouse feces.
Ew.
Sure.
I just picked up my new gig. I'm on Pit Barbecue Battle Royale on the, I'm on Barbecue Brawl. Like, oh man,
put on 20.
We can't give you any barbecue, but we can possibly give you some free gas for a year. How about that? 92 KQRS. Yeah, that's right. Free gas for a year. Listen weekdays at 9. It's almost 9 now. Listen at 9, 2, and 5 for your keyword to text to win $92.50 in free gas, along with tickets to an upcoming show at the Medina Entertainment Center. And you will be entered in the competition to win free gas for a year. This is sponsored by our friends at Body Gastroenterology and Quick Trip, 9, 2, and 5.
All right. And when you're making that text in a little more than 15 minutes, we'll be speaking with comedian Kellen Erskine from America's Got Talent to Conan to Jimmy Kimmel to Laugh Camp this weekend. Going to join us at 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July the 7th. Happy Friday. Good morning. If you plan to get out on a lake this weekend, there's a couple of lakes we're going to advise you to avoid. That would be Lake Hiawatha Beach, and then hang on.
You got it.
Hang on. Bidet Makaska.
Yeah, a little too much bidet in the Makaska.
Bidet Makaska. Yeah. Thomas Beach both have exceeded state guidelines for E. coli bacteria levels. So those two places are not where you want to be in the water this weekend. While what do they do? Do they just let that play itself out, or is there something you can do when the E. coli levels get up high?
I don't know. I mean, they're not going to throw chlorine in there or anything.
I don't think so.
Right. Yeah, the people fish out of there too, which I personally wouldn't do. Catch and release, perhaps, but
maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess it just has to dissipate.
I guess
is that from like goose poop? I think.
Human or goose?
I've been told that we can blame the geese for this one.
All right.
Yes,
geese.
We certainly can. Hey, this weekend over at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club, Kellen Erskine will be there tonight and tomorrow night. Tonight at 7 p.m., tomorrow night at 7 and 9:30 p.m. And he joins us now on the horn. Good morning, sir.
Hey there.
You are a local guy playing at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club. That's always got to be nice. You don't have to pack a bag. You don't have to get on a plane. You just go across town.
Oh, actually, I'm from Los Angeles, so I flew 12 hours yesterday.
Well, see, that's why we investigate. That's why we have researchers here on the show. So you travel a good bit for this life of yours. You have a family. How many kids do you have, Kellen?
I got 3 kids.
And okay, well, first of all, you're what is known as a clean comedian, a clean comic. If you can maintain that after having kids, I say job well done, sir.
Oh, yeah, I save all my dirty material for home.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And I don't really like I don't know, there's a stigma that comes with clean comedy. I feel like if someone can walk away from a show and be like, oh, I guess he didn't he cursed, I don't want someone watching my show going, oh, I bet this guy does birthday parties, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, which I do, don't get me wrong, but I don't want people to think that.
I understand that thinking, and there was a time in my life when I probably would have been clean comic, but now when I hear someone described as that, I assume, I'm not just saying this, well, they're probably better than the average guy. There's not a crutch there with intentionally racy blue material that is just trying to get attention.
That's easy.
It's actually just comedy. So in my mind, that's a blue ribbon description.
Sure, I hope so, yeah. And there are dirty comics that I like, but I do feel like ventriloquism or anything else that can be used as a gimmick. I just try not to have any of those, yeah.
Well, you don't get 50 million views on your clips, without entertaining some folks.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So is it like family-based? Is that what you're doing? Picking on the family up there?
For my comedy?
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I don't really bring my family up. They're not very funny. I do a lot of It's a lot of observational stuff. You're referring to one of my clips. Like I had if anything, people know me from my bike lock bit. Just sort of observational stuff that we've all noticed, but I don't think anyone's talked about. I have like 5 minutes on paddle boats that I'm pretty excited about. A paddle boat, the most inefficient vehicle on the planet. You just feel like the chain came off of your bicycle.
And you're still pedaling, wondering why you're not getting anywhere.
Right.
Hey, Kellen, so you mentioned your family's not funny. Are your kids, are any of them actually kind of witty or funny? Or, I mean, do they look at their dad and think, yeah, I could do that?
Oh, yeah, they think that. I mean, but...
Yeah, of course.
They're not. I mean, they're funny to me. I think that's a mistake a lot of people make. But you know how everyone wants to show you the pictures of their kids?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just don't want to do that on stage. And there are comics that can do it well. But,
right.
Yeah, I'd just rather talk about, penguins.
It makes perfect sense to me. Do your kids think it's cool that their dad's a comedian, or do they not really care? You're just dad no matter what.
No, at this point they do, but even my daughter, when she was like 12, she would I would make a joke at home that I thought was pretty good, and she would be like, "Oh, dad joke," and it's like, no, I'm a dad, and I told the joke.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a pun that you roll your eyes at on TikTok. Like that was like what she thinks is a dad joke is something like I've spent weeks writing.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. So, but I imagine you have spent time in the Twin Cities, though. This is a comedy hotbed.
This is actually my first time. I've flown through the airport quite a bit. I've eaten at the Wetzel's Pretzels that you have.
But the finest in the country. No question about it.
So this is my first time here, so I'm excited.
That's awesome. Laugh Camp Comedy Club tonight at 7 p.m., tomorrow 7 and 9:30, along with Casey Flesh. We are on the horn with Kellen Erskine. So when did you make that decision? How old were you and you thought, I'm gonna get a microphone and go try to make strangers laugh?
I knew that I always wanted to try it when my parents always listened to Bill Cosby records, and for the record, I never thought he was funny even before the news came out. So I like to say that. But then my buddy gave me a Stephen Wright cassette tape when I was 11,
right.
And he was this just brilliant one-liner comic from the 80s. And from that point, I knew that at least I wanted to try stand-up comedy at some point. I remember the first joke I heard him say was, he said, "I bought some used paint. It was in the shape of a house." And that's what comedy can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to try it. Started doing open mics in San Francisco, and here we are.
Yeah, those one-liners. Kellen Erskine, you're at Laugh Camp this weekend. I'm on your Twitter page, and it's one-liners. It's nothing but observational one-liners as I scroll through. These are hilarious. Yeah, definitely a Stephen Wright influence here.
Yeah, and definitely on Twitter is made for that. I do have my bits are a bit longer on stage, but I try and keep the jokes per minute going, even if I'm not Stephen Wright per se. But yeah,
Kellen, we are a classic rock station. Are you a fan of rock music?
I sure am.
Who's your band? You got one band. Who is it?
What counts as classic rock these days? Because if you say, like, Panic at the Disco, I'm going to hang up.
We'll go anything before 95. 95 is the cutoff point.
Sure, okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I've got some Weezer fits right under there, 92 with the Blue Album.
Sure, yeah.
But I've got, of course, the classics, Beatles, Eagles, Beach Boys.
Now you're talking. All right, so
variety.
First concert you ever saw, what was it?
It was actually Weezer, Jimmy World, and Tenacious D.
Fantastic.
That's not a bad start.
Well, that's a hell of a show for a comedian, of course. Man, that's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
That is awesome.
I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know who Tenacious D was.
Right.
But when Jack Black came out, he did a somersault on stage and just starts rocking out on an acoustic guitar.
Yes.
Okay.
Never seen anything like it.
That'll do it. So will there be any somersaults or acoustic guitar playing at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club this weekend?
I don't do a lot of physical comedy. I may stage dive, so you'll have to come and see.
I like that. All right. Well, Kellen, it's a pleasure to talk with you, brother. Have a great weekend. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.
Yep. Man. Wow, good first concert. Weezer and Tenacious D.
Yeah, not bad.
Great.
Man, that's not bad at all. I will still occasionally go down a Tenacious D rabbit hole and just watch the videos I've seen 100 times, and I still laugh just as much.
They're so fun.
Every time.
Candace and I went to see them over the summer.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Tenacious D. I'm obsessed. Well, I'm obsessed with Jack Black. I don't know if you guys heard about this new social media platform called Threads. It's
We have.
basically Twitter for Instagram, but that was literally what I threaded yesterday was how much I was in love with Jack Black.
So you're already in the Threads pool.
Yep, I'm trying to get to him, you know, and since this is a new social media, I might be able to get through to him.
So this is
get
like
rid of that, you know.
This is like Mark Zuckerberg's Twitter, right? This is the Facebook guy trying to take away Twitter from the Twitter guy.
Right. I don't know. I'm skeptical because they're not allowing porn on like you can get on Twitter. Not that I do that, but I'm just saying if you don't go all the way on social media, of course Instagram doesn't and Facebook doesn't, so never mind. I
Hey,
forgot
Candace,
what I was going to say.
if you're trying to get a
then.
message to Jack Black, let's just call him after the show.
You have his phone number?
Yep.
Are you serious?
I've known the guy for years.
Let's crank call
I
him.
hate to be selfish. You could call him during the show, but
Nah, he would never
private
answer.
time.
well, no, we wouldn't tell him.
Actually, I don't know if it's still his number. I got it a long time ago. I just like to act like a big shot. I just, hey, call me sometime. And then, of course, I never did.
Does it start with 555?
He came to a Black Crowes gig with Gwyneth Paltrow once. And I
Oh,
was like,
that's cool.
They were making
Great.
what's the
Fat,
Whoopi.
Shallow Hal.
No, yes,
Shallow
Shallow
Hal.
Hal.
Oh, that was so bad.
Okay, first of all, I used to love that movie. Second of all, it does not hold up. It's
No.
very offensive.
Thirdly, I still love it.
I tell you
It's
something.
funny. Fat jokes are funny. I'm sorry, they are.
It's still funny. But
You know what always holds up? That's right. Free gas for a year. You heard me. And I mean the gas that goes in your car, baby. Now, we did mention earlier in the show, a doctor said you should always free willy if you have to. If you are holding back a fart, let it go. Let that orca fly, baby. It's better for your health. But I'm talking about the gas that goes in your car now. And right now on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line, text the word SIGNAL. SIGNAL. Signal to 651-989-ROCK for a chance to win $92.50 in free gas, tickets to an upcoming show at the Medina Entertainment Center, plus a shot at free gas for a year. The good people at Body Gastroenterology know all about all kinds of gases. And they would love you to win free gas for a year. Also, this prize provided by Quick Trip and the Medina Entertainment Center. I forgot all about the fact that my young nephew, as a child, he came up with that on his own. When he'd say, I got to go Free Willy, and he'd leave the room and fart.
That's what
The movie Free Willy was huge, and he came up with that.
Cry every
I
time
was
you fart.
I was impressed. I was like, the kid wrote a joke. He's 10.
What a talented family.
I wrote a joke in 5th grade. I'm not the only one to make this joke, but I had never heard it. So in my mind, I wrote it, and here it was. If you would care to hear it.
Sure.
Which one of these doesn't belong? A crab, a lobster. No, hang on. A crab, a lobster, salmon, or a Japanese man under a steamroller. Which one doesn't fit?
I'll bite the Japanese man under the steamroller.
No, the salmon, because the other 3 are crustaceans. See?
Lob that one in.
Right, yeah.
The delivery was flawless.
1975, 10 years old, right there.
That's not bad, actually.
It was around that time when someone said, stick to the drums, kid. Your comedy's not going to be your thing.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
alrighty, we're frozen. Solid.
Hey, Tony,
Again.
you got those perver serves still laying around?
Yeah. Well, why don't we do our own version, Zep?
I'll
That'll go over
do
well.
tennis. Ugh. That sounds like me barfing over the 4th of July weekend. It's been years, but yeah, I see red lights blinking around here. We live in a digital world, you know. You get a little glitch and the neighborhood goes to hell now.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say goes to hell. I mean, I'd say we're in the ditch. We're still trying to get it back on the road.
Yeah, all right.
Things go sideways. It does happen.
Yes, it does.
Well, you know, sometimes you have bad days.
Yeah, at least, bad day on a Friday means it's going to be the weekend. It's going to get good very soon. This isn't so bad. It's bad for Candace in there. She has to figure something out.
They're there.
Sometimes things go wrong. Can we talk about a bad day that a couple had?
Yeah, sure.
Can I give you a real bad day?
All right.
Last Sunday afternoon, a fire destroyed a home in Iowa. Okay? Couple going about their business. They return from a motorcycle ride. Well, actually, they're on their bikes. They're taking a ride. They get an alert. There's a problem at home. They turn around to race home because they have heard now confirmation your house is on fire.
Ooh.
On the way there, Wendy Hansen, the wife of this couple, she crashes her motorcycle.
No.
She's trying to get home to deal with a house fire, and she crashes her bike. She suffered several broken bones, a lot of bumps, a lot of bruises, hit a culvert or something or other.
Yeah.
She was taken to the hospital in an ambulance.
That's a bad
She gets
day.
to the hospital. She is being examed, and they find out that she has cancer.
Oh my God! All right.
She
I hope it doesn't get any worse.
She literally was They somehow determined she has a kidney cancer that they had no idea about. She's going to have that kidney now removed. She's saying it now. She says, "Well, the motorcycle crash was a blessing because without that, I wouldn't have been answering a bunch of questions about my health. How do you feel? What is this? Someone's poking and prodding, looking for broken bones, and then she yelps in pain. They're like, wait, this shouldn't hurt. One thing leads to another. Now they find out she has got kidney cancer. So they lost their home. This is getting bad. They lost their home. They lost and they lost some pets in the house fire. Terrible. Terrible.
Jeez.
She broke a bunch of bones, but probably had her life saved because of the diagnosis that otherwise would have gone unnoticed. That's pretty good news. There's a GoFundMe page, and people are starting to throw money at them because now that's a day right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh boy, that's a silver lining in there. But yeah, I don't need one of those days.
I'm trying to think of the if I broke both my arms at one moment, so I can't say that's the same day. It's not like I did one and an hour later did the other. But a series of maladies hitting you all on the same day, that's probably a conversation for that's a whole day's worth. I bet there's some crazy stories, but thankfully never had anything that compares to that one.
No,
what a week I'm having!
Yeah, my stuff would be would be fairly petty. Like, couldn't figure out how to get my microphone on this morning. Segues into stubbed my toe, but not the bad stuff. Damn.
Actually, I just realized something. I did okay. This is as a kid. This was a bad one. I got kicked out of the pool one day. I was swimming at the pool. I'm like 15, and I don't even remember the offense, but I just remember the lifeguard saying, "You're done for the day. You got to leave." And at that time in my life, that was a pretty heavy wait, it's only 1:00 in the afternoon, and I've got to go for the rest of the day.
And
I just
the walk of shame out of there, right?
Yeah, it's terrible. And all I was doing was, it probably started with a game of shark, and then we called it alligator, and then one day it was shark. I was like, well, which is it? But anyway, you know the game. Just tag, swimming across the pool, trying not to get caught.
Yeah.
Anyway, then I'm running on the shore and on the side of the pool. One thing leads to another. I'm bounced from the pool, and I'm walking home, and I'm pissed off. I'm like, man, this is the worst day of my life. And I'm walking home across the golf course, and I'm crossing a fairway, and I don't see anybody.
Yes.
I don't hear a distant nothing. All I know is just boom, right on my shoulder blade.
Got it.
Off of a driver, no less, from the fairway next to me. A guy had a bad slice, and he's 200 yards away, and he hit me on the fly right at my shoulder blade. Knocked me forward. I mean, it knocked the breath out of me from there all but. And I went down. I was trotting, and it just caught me perfectly where I lost my footing and fell forward. And I'm laying there going, what just happened? And I thought, oh, my God. And I thought, I must have been hit by a golf ball. And I knew I had about 4 seconds before it really started to hurt. Still my brain's going so fast. And then I could just hear this, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. And this guy's racing towards me thinking he just killed a kid.
Yeah, you went down.
Yeah, I went down, and he assumed it was a headshot. Thankfully, it wasn't. He was a pharmacist in town. I'd never met him, but he was so apologetic, and he was just begging me to let him take me to the doctor. I was like, and I'm a kid. I'm like, no, I'm fine, mister. I'm just like, it'll be fine. And by the time I got home, I had a lump on my back that was the size of a golf ball.
Should have milked it and started crying. You could have gotten some cash or some good drugs from the pharmacy.
I totally should have. There is a photo of a golf ball next to the lump on my back, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, my brother's like, hang on, I got to get the camera.
That confirms it. It was a golf ball.
At a time when we were taking 3 photographs a year. You know what I mean? It was like, to get the family camera out in 1980, you had to have something pretty serious happen.
Yeah, you only got 24 of those suckers,
That's exactly right. That film doesn't grow on trees, young man.
Oh, back in the days when you used to be on vacation, hold the camera up and go, I don't know. I mean, they're cool waves, but I did take a wave picture yesterday. I only get 24. I only brought 1 roll of film. Today, It's like, I'll just hit it 25 times. There's got to be a good picture in there somewhere.
Oh, there certainly is. I've got right now. This is interesting. Someone said this to me the other day. They were like, "How many pictures do you have in your phone?" And I said, "Oh, I've probably got 2,000 photos in there." No, I'm sorry. I have 5,588 photos in my phone. Wow. 5,588, and I would say 60% of those are of Chauncey Gorman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 12,000.
You do not.
Yes, I do.
Candace Wheeler.
It's an iPhone. It can hold infinity photos.
Do you have them all? Are they all easy to find? Like, do you categorize and label and put them in folders, files?
No, I don't need to. Again, it's an iPhone. All you have to do is in the search bar type goat, and then you'll get probably 2,000 of them will pop up.
How does your phone know what a goat looks like if you haven't assigned a label?
Should be a picture of me.
Oh my gosh, it's an iPhone.
Yeah, it knows what a goat is. You get a picture of Tom Brady and.
Oh my God! Speaking of Tom Brady, I've never really been that into him, but I'm like really kind of into him now. He's so funny to me on those commercials, and I just watched that.
His career's over.
That 80 for Brady movie is so funny.
It is?
I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Do you generally have a thing for retired men? Is that your kink?
It makes more sense, doesn't it?
Well,
it really does.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
More time for Candace.
Right?
Yeah.
They've got that money just laying around. You guys want to hear just a minute of Norm Macdonald talking about pictures in the old days compared to today?
Oh, please.
Yeah, listen to this.
But I can't believe it's been a quarter century since I made my television debut. It was all different back then. It was back then. I remember if you wanted to take a picture, you would use a camera, not a telephone. As a matter of fact, if you used a telephone, people would look at you odd. Just stay still like that. What about in the old days when they took pictures of you way back, where they pulled that thing and exploded and stuff? I got a picture of my great-grandfather. The thing took 6 hours to take your picture, and it was a picture of my great-grandfather, one. Every guy had one picture back then. I gotta get back, feed them hogs. Who's gonna feed the hogs? Somebody got to feed them hogs. Now, in the future, of course, it'll be different. 50 years from now, people will be going like, hey, you want to see 100,000 pictures of my great-grandfather?
Mm-hmm. Just check out Candace's phone right there.
It's entirely true. The Gorman family photos for my childhood, all on slides. They were developed as slides. Doesn't really make it easy to flip through memory lane. Yeah. When you've got to pull out the Kodachrome slide projector.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got it pulled up, shut the windows. It's not dark enough. Yeah, complete pain in the ass. I don't know what anybody was thinking.
Photo albums. My mom was the queen of photo albums. Still have them. In fact, we're just out there 4th of July. When you get about 6 beers in, the photo albums come out. They're easily accessible. And if you stack them up, we found my sister's 5'3", and they come up to her collarbone.
Oh, yeah, they weigh 40 pounds.
Oh, God, yeah. And you get into the old, just start flipping through the pages of the photo albums.
Yeah, no, not here. Thankfully, one of my brothers took all of the slides and then digitized them.
Yeah, CD.
There's like a family Facebook page with an offshoot where you can just go look at all the slides.
Nice.
I never do, but it's there.
But
it's
you
there
could.
for me. I certainly could if I wanted to.
Future generations.
I said something earlier in the week, or maybe it was last week, about how I just missed every boat. I thought Netflix was stupid. Who doesn't want to go to the video store? And why would I send emails when I can write a letter? I'm that guy. Also, to Norm Macdonald's point, 2003, or maybe it was 2004, but I was touring with a band called Stereophonics, and the bass player, Richard, I got on the bus one day in Europe after a break, and he was holding a Nokia phone, and he took a picture with it. And I said, what is that? He goes, the new Nokia. It's got a camera in the phone. And I said, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I went off on the soapbox about, this is why I have a digital camera. I can plug this up with a cord into my laptop, open a running program. I can upload it. It takes a few minutes, but that's as fast as I need anything to happen in this world. I have a digital camera that I can put phones onto my laptop from. Why do I need a camera on my phone? I couldn't. And he goes, everyone will be doing this soon. He goes, everyone's going to want. No, a phone is a phone. A camera's a camera. I couldn't see it. To this day, there's probably someone within a month is going to come up to me and say, Steve, here's the keys to that flying car you always wanted. And I'm going to go, no, I don't want a flying car. It's ridiculous. I want to talk about the E. coli at Lake Harriet. And then here I'm going to be. You guys are all going to be flying to work, and I'm going to look like a jerk.
Space travel? Oh, I have this telescope.
It's the absolute worst, man. God.
All right. You guys want to rock out or what?
Okay.
It sounds like Candace wants to rock out.
How about a little Eddie Money on KQ?
Let's do it.
There it is. Oppenheimer.
That was the greatest actual ope I've gotten yet.
Now what? Hold
on.
What?
We're not going to go with Eddie Money. Let me tell you what's not money in the bank. Eddie Money right now.
All right.
Hey, these things happen.
Hell's a poppin'.
Don't you know some songs, Steve? Weren't you in a rock band?
Now we're in the ditch on our side.
Well, I'm happy to sing a song. Candace, what do you want to hear? Wow. You know what? Candace is in radio hell right now. We're going to let her go. You're right. You said hell, and I said, no, it's just a ditch. Now it's hell.
Well, I appreciate a guy who knows his history.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Steve, what's happening?
I'll tell you what's happening, or I'll tell you what happened. On this day in 1985, July 7th, Boris Becker won Wimbledon. He was the youngest man to ever win Wimbledon. He was the only unseeded man to ever win Wimbledon, and he was the first German to ever win the Wimbledon men's final. He was a bit of a prince of Wimbledon because that was his first big victory. Because that's where he splashed into the international consciousness. The folks at Wimbledon always held him in very high regard. It's a very special place in his life. He retired from Wimbledon 14 years later in 1999, and he left a little something behind when he left England that year. He left behind a child because after his last match at Wimbledon, Boris Becker went to a restaurant, Nobu, upscale sushi restaurant, and involved himself in a literally 2 or 3 minute tryst with the coat check girl.
Oh, man.
The coat check girl was like, Mr. Becker, I presume. And he said, coat check girl, I presume. Next thing you know, they're in a closet and they have sex, and she delivers his child the following year.
Wow.
A little baby girl. And so it's one thing to retire from your tennis career. That's a bittersweet day filled with emotion. All the ways you could sort of try to work through those emotions, I'd say not have a random tryst with an ovulating woman.
Well, now you say that.
Just off the top of my head, that's one thing you want to avoid. But anyway, Becker, he hit Wimbledon. He came in like a comet in 1985, and he left like a comet in 1999.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.